This is Ray Varner of Randolph-Macon College, class of 2010. I'm here with the Living Legacies Oral History Program, in particular the Women of Randolph-Macon Oral History Program. And I'm here with Natalie Newfield and Steffani McGurn. So they were Kleles while in school. They were Klele, I guess I should say, not Kleles. But they were class of 1981, and today is August 2nd, 2011, and also here in the room is Myra Legg and Sarah Hendricks from the Development Office. Okay, hello, you two.
Hello.
I'll start out with an easy question. So, where did you two grow up?
Well,
We were born in West Virginia,
yeah.
and then our dad worked for the space program, so we lived our elementary years in Florida.
And then moved to Warrenton, Virginia, and went to junior high and high school there before going to Randolph-Macon.
Except that
except
our
1
senior
year.
year in high school, we were in Korea.
We lived in Seoul, Korea.
Yeah,
I went to an American school
yeah, we
there.
went to American school.
Because
My father's job.
Our father worked, and that was back during the Southeast Asian conflict, and so it was a time that he was able to live. That was as close as you could get to your family, so we all lived in Korea, so we could live with our dad after many years.
So how did you hear about Randolph-Macon? Was it?
Jim Toller was her boyfriend. He went to Randolph-Macon,
Yeah,
and
we loved it.
he said, y'all need to come to
Yeah, we came
Randolph-Macon
down there for a
and
party. We came down for a
see
party.
it, see the campus, and we went there and
Loved it.
really liked it, and liked that it was small, and that we could be together, and so we applied there.
It was my first choice, my
Yeah.
only choice, really.
Yeah.
Can you say more about the that first time you visited the campus?
When we went to visit the campus, we had a guide, a student guide.
A woman, actually. It was a woman.
And she showed us
a
around
student.
the campus, and I guess we met some of the teachers and admin people.
I remember being really
And
hot.
then, didn't we spend the night there?
I remember.
I
going
think
to
we
a
spent
party.
the night there and went to a party
Yeah.
or something.
And then, that was it.
We were like, this place is cool.
Exactly.
So you went to a party. So was it a fraternity house or
Yeah, it
what
must have
kind?
been.
Must have been.
Yeah. That was a long time ago, Ray.
Exactly.
But it was like the right, I think for
Yeah,
both
we
of
just sort of
us,
felt like that
it was
a
the
really
right
neat
place for
and felt
us.
comfortable.
Yeah, and it was.
Because we went to, our high school was very small, where we went to high school. And,
There was one high school in the whole county,
And
Fauquier High.
so it kind of felt like, we weren't going to some giant school, that we would be anonymous.
And our dad went to Virginia Tech, played football down there. So like all the time of having to go down there,
Yeah,
we didn't want to go to a
we
big
did not
school,
want to go there.
having experienced that.
Did you two know you were going to go to school together?
No, I don't know how that.
wasn't
It's probably my
intentional.
mom probably decided that.
No, I don't.
Be
I think
easier.
I think they were independent.
I think we
I
both
think it was
liked it
independent.
and probably wanted to be
Yeah.
together.
We were roommates.
Yeah, freshman
Yeah.
year.
We're best still. Look at us now.
Yeah.
People are like, "Why would you live with your sister?" It's like, why would I not live with my
Right.
sister? My best friend.
And then we broke up.
Yeah. She moved across the hall.
We switched.
Right. We switched roommates.
And then you had that apartment. Yeah.
married dorms.
You know that they had those apartments back behind Jones.
They're called them. They were married dorms. They were where
Yeah.
the military people.
And they
still
had a
call them that?
lottery. I think there were
Well, they
only.
cut them.
They're gone.
Yes, where the townhouses are now, but I think that those are new buildings.
But wasn't that there were
still
only?
They're-
Yeah, there
there
were
were
only
6 of
two.
them.
There weren't that many. Not that you for students.
Oh yeah, no. For
There was
students,
like
only
two,
Only
and
two.
they got
A
y'all
lottery.
Got, there was a lottery, and y'all got it both years.
That's nice.
Yeah, they had a kitchen and everything.
Did the fact that the college had gone co-ed recently, did that play any part in your decision? Did you know that it had gone co-ed recently?
Yes.
I think we did, but I don't think we. Really,
I knew it was 8-1.
I don't.
I
Think
knew that.
I don't think we really understood the impact of that.
But that appealed to me that it was 8-1.
I had no.
I still
that
remember
had
the
no-
ratio.
That had no
She's the more serious
determination on
one.
my
Yeah, she's
on my
the more
decision.
serious
I mean, I don't remember thinking that. I remember being overwhelmed when I got there by the actual existence of that ratio, that it was really irritating and scary and,
You mean
hard.
all the men?
Yeah, it was really hard.
I
She
disagree.
loved it.
I loved it.
Yeah,
but
it was really, it was hard for me with that. Because, well, first of all, we lived in Garland, which is community bathrooms. And there were always guys in the hallway. They are knocking
room
on
was
your
like
door.
drive-through.
They're always, they were just there.
We lived on the
there.
end, and people would just pull up and like honk their horn, like like if they were drive-through.
Yeah.
They would, hey, what's going on? We're like, oh my gosh, pull the
But
shades
it
down.
was I remember that being uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And you're you are away from home, and so I do remember that part of it. I don't know if that would have changed my mind if I knew that or not. Probably not, but that was not something that I thought of when
Were all the dorms co-ed? Or just
There were no dorms that were
we
co-ed.
didn't have co-ed dorms.
That was why,
there
but
were
it was,
just guys
but
there.
yeah, the
No.
guys were perpendicular to College
were-
Avenue.
yeah, so-
and Garland and Jones, right, were parallel, and
Right.
those were the two women's dorms, and then all the
Right.
rest were
So
all
we were
men's
surrounded
dorms.
by that. But it was that there were so many more guys, and they were checking out the freshman girls because it was all freshmen.
Garland was an all
So-
freshman dorm.
Yeah.
So they were also freshmen in Mary Branch at the time?
There were
Yeah.
freshmen in Mary
yeah.
Branch, some in New Dorm and Conrad.
Yeah.
And then there were like maybe 2 people in Jones, because remember Kim Urquhart was there, and there were a couple other people. I remember most
Well, I know when
freshmen,
I was an RA in Jones, I had like 2 or 3
Right.
freshmen, something like that.
because it was sweet, so that was
Yeah.
like really nice.
Because I was an RA junior and senior year in Jones. But yeah, it was men's dorm, women's dorm, men's dorm, men's dorm, women's dorm, men's dorm. Down at the other end of campus with no supervision. You know what I'm saying?
Did you decide to live in the new dorm?
We had no choice. We didn't have a choice, did we?
No.
I don't think we had a choice.
I don't know,
We
it
were
seems-
assigned there.
I think I.
I don't think we did.
I think I did.
I don't think we did. I don't think we had a choice initially.
But we loved it. I
Yeah, but
wouldn't have-
after we were not.
we
gonna
never
move
moved
up
out.
together
We
into
never moved out.
campus.
No, that
Yeah.
was where we
Once
were.
we were
belonged.
there, that was
down
it.
at that end. Yeah.
It was a different crowd, so to speak. I'm trying to be honest.
Yeah, like
I mean, honestly,
the
it
Mary
was-
Branch girls were like the real sweet, quiet. Would you say that? There was like different
No, I don't- I wouldn't say that.
personas.
I mean, I
Okay.
think that it was. I think the new dorm. I think that to me, I don't, really. I mean, I know that there was a difference, but I think it was sort of after the upperclassmen that made the decision to move. After that's when you saw this sort of separation within our own class. You know what I mean? That there were certain people that had to get out of the roach-infested motels.
Which was really co-ed. It was more.
And
It felt much more
get
co-ed.
to-
Mary Branch was not co-ed.
Right.
I don't think men were allowed. I don't think they were allowed
Not
in Mary Branch.
upstairs.
In Mary Branch, they weren't
and
allowed
then
in there.
and Moreland, there was much tighter security.
A new dorm.
Or a new dorm.
Right.
Not Moreland. Moreland was the guy's dorm.
Right.
Yeah.
Do you remember what freshman move-in was like? So can you tell me about that? I guess you remember?
Yeah, I do remember. I think I still remember sitting in the auditorium in Blackwell. Is that right? And them being told, look on either side of you.
Yeah, that was
That there were only one of you is still there. It has the highest, right? It has that one. It really has a 60% attrition rate. So Randolph-Macon was easy to get in and very difficult to stay in. So they said, look on either side. Only one of y'all will still be here. So I really remember that.
Do you remember who you were sitting next to?
My sister.
Yeah. We both made it.
I don't remember the other
No.
person.
No.
Yeah. No, well, actually, our whole crew, a lot of people
Yeah,
fell
was that Vicky
away.
transferred?
Yeah. And then,
But then, because we were on the end, it was really good because we had an end room, so we just pulled up.
yeah, our
The-
mom. So while we were in Blackwell, our mom is a take charge person.
Oh, yeah, she
we
made all
came
our
back,
beds
our
and-
room was done.
Yeah, she undid it
It was
all for us.
awesome. She made the
Yeah.
beds.
But we had
And, you
those
know,
like crappy wardrobes, and yeah. But Mom made it, gussied it up.
do they still have maids there?
They don't clean in the rooms.
Okay, so
Oh,
we
really?
had a maid,
Oh, yeah.
Myrtle. She like I'm sure my mother paid her because she would come and take a nap on our bed when we would come home from class. She was watching her stories on the bed, and it was fabulous because while she was in there, she
Well,
was
that was
cleaning
what
our room.
because when I was an RA, I had a refrigerator in my room and everything, and a couch, and they used the maids would come in my room. My room was always tip top shape.
Right. So
Fold my clothes and
each
everything.
dorm had their own maid, so you had a maid who took care of you.
Yeah.
It was wonderful.
Make your bed and clean the bathrooms and stuff.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. That was good.
Or a wrong age.
But they had these closets at Nellie's was in Jones.
Yeah.
She used to sit in that closet, and I'm like, girl, get out of that closet. Come and sit in my room.
See, we still remember their names, Nellie and Myrtle.
Let me say this. We had some roaches in there. They were, like 3 inches long. It was bad. Remember that one time, freshman year, when the termites came out?
Oh my! The termites.
You know how
took
like they
wings.
swarm?
They swarm.
That happened while we were there. That was. Should we tell that story? Yeah. I don't know what that has to do with women, but if you can imagine, the guys probably wouldn't have noticed it. But we were
Oh my
all
God.
like
It was
horrified.
Really, it was
and
like Alfred
a
Hitchcock
movie or something, and we had to. They were like, "What? Sweep it up or whatever." The maids, poor maids, but it was pretty scary.
It still happens.
Oh, it does.
Yeah.
Looking at
Oh,
Yeah.
in our
But the-
office.
yeah.
nice. But the building's
Yeah.
still there.
Oh yeah. But we had, I think.
We had a great RA.
Yeah.
Stacy Gray. So Stacy
She-
Gray, she came because she graduated in 77, right? That means that
Yeah,
she
she was
came
a
in
senior,
73.
right?
Is that right? Yeah.
Yeah.
She was fabulous.
She was so good.
She was just
really
senior,
our, like,
wonderful.
mother hen.
She really
Yeah.
was. So she had this whole, half
All
of a dorm
freshmen,
full of
freshmen.
freshmen. And
Yeah.
we actually were close friends for many years. Not anymore. We've kind of lost touch. But
But yeah, because when
think
I was
very
an
fondly of
RA
her.
in
Did
Jones,
you all talk to her?
it was mostly,
Stacy Teeters.
No, but
I think she lives in Arlington. She used to live in Arlington.
she was amazing.
Yeah, she was really wonderful.
We had this jigsaw puzzle, the Sistine Chapel. She had a table set up in her room, a window in the Sistine Chapel, or Notre Dame.
Notre
The
Dame,
round,
the
one of
rose
the
window.
round, yeah. And we all worked on that all year. Just go by her room and be talking to her about stuff and put stuff in.
So we had a lot of that was actually the real girl time.
Yeah.
And then we did everything as a group. I mean, when you said, remember orientation, so first day I remember that, looking on it, being told. And then there was a mixer in the old gym. And that was wild. Because, that was when everybody was that's when you could drink back then. And the college
Virginia
provided
was
alcohol.
beer and wine.
Right. So there was beer
21 was
everywhere.
liquor.
And it was great
18
bands.
was beer and wine.
Great bands.
We had like the Nighthawks
Yeah,
and New
really good
Riders
bands.
and Purple
Oh,
Sage.
yeah.
Yeah, that was
Yeah,
awesome.
and, and kegs of
that
beer.
hideous gym that we had.
The old
With the
gym, I
pool
love
and
the old-
everything.
Oh yeah, I used to swim there every day.
Yeah.
Swim on that's what.
But
that
Natalie's right. I
also
mean, that was the kind of thing that was kind of neat because you talk about sororities and stuff, and we didn't have sororities, but we had a group of girls that we did stuff together. And one of the things I do remember being told this, and I don't know who told us this, but that I think they recommended that you shouldn't go alone to a fraternity party, or that you should, go with at least one girlfriend, or or more. I mean, I seem to remember somebody telling us that, and particularly but there were particular fraternities that were to be avoided
What do you
as
mean
young women.
avoided?
Well, that it wasn't a good idea to go there without unescorted.
So, do you remember which particular fraternity?
Well, Kappa Sigma. I shouldn't say it.
Yeah, Kappa Sigma. They got their charter back. Is that right?
Yeah, that
Didn't
was
they lose their
one.
charter?
That
and
was
then
one of the places.
Yeah, Kappa Sigma.
And are we supposed to be honest?
Yeah,
Because let me tell you something. They had
That
little
was back
secret
in the
rooms
old-
in
right,
there.
back in the old
But they
days.
men would bring their girlfriends to their rooms, and there would be little secret rooms where other fraternity brothers would, watch what they were doing in there.
Do you know
So,
that
I
from
mean,
a
that
brother?
sounds
Do you
horrid.
know that from a
Yes,
brother?
I did.
Okay, I was gonna say.
I mean, that's
So
hideous.
that was like a big football.
Yeah, we did not go there
fraternity.
often. No, I didn't go there probably until
I
like
probably
my
only
junior,
went
senior
there
year when I
about-
had friends that, we would go and not go to like big parties there, but
Right.
play music or whatever,
visit
just
a
kind of
brother.
hang out to visit friends.
I rarely went there.
Yeah.
I don't think I.
Yeah,
can
that
ever
was
remember
not.
going
I
there
mean,
for
but
a
that was
party.
something that we were. It was like don't go there.
Were there other girls that were telling you not to go there, or was it? The
I know. I think it was.
administration,
I think it was upperclassmen, men.
Well, then we had Stacy too. looking
Boys.
out for us.
Older boys.
I see.
But we were little sisters at Phi Cap, so we had that. That was our sorority.
So, what did that mean to be a little sister?
Slave to the fraternity.
Well, actually, it was. It was though more. I mean, that
It
was
was social.
It was very social. So like you
Um,
weren't there as a guest. As a little sister, you were really part of the whole.
Right.
You didn't participate in any of the brotherhood things, but like we had our own little parties, and we would like host. We would host a party at the fraternity for
Yeah.
everybody. So rather than the brothers, we did a lot of their cleaning because they're so nasty.
Yeah.
We did clean. We
But
cleaned
for
for
parties,
them.
not like every
Yeah.
week or anything.
Yeah.
But you know what?
We did some
had
cleaning
it was
one
like
time.
we had good buddies. We had men that were friends.
Right.
And that was a big deal. Because when you're outnumbered, it helps to have friends in the majority.
What you're saying, I swear, I don't have
And,
any.
you know,
I had a very.
we would
We have
go
a very
there-
different experience.
No,
of it.
I'm not saying it was negative. I mean, it was a good thing. It was fun. Like if some guy was hitting on you or something, and you were out and you'd see one of your brothers and you'd say, hey, you just go over and talk to him. So they would protect you. And
That's true.
we,
That's true.
I mean, it was
Remember
good.
that
And we
night
would
at
go
that
there
McGurn?
and every I remember, I don't know what year this was, but we would go sit in the president's room was this beautiful room upstairs with couches and a giant TV. And we would go up there every afternoon and watch General Hospital, boys and girls, the whole Luke and Laura. Oh yeah, remember that? Yeah.
I
And
watched it every day in college.
did.
yeah, and that
and Laura,
was it.
too.
Yeah, guys and girls, and that
And
was
then Saturday Night Live on Saturday.
I mean,
night.
yeah, and
That
exactly, and
was
so
back
it
when
was,
Saturday Night Live had
it
first
was
started.
it was a great social group. We
Yeah.
had. And
So it was sort of like.
yeah,
It was just kind of like.
yeah,
It
she
wasn't a
dated-
sorority.
You dated one of them. It wasn't a sorority.
It wasn't a sorority.
It wasn't a sorority.
But it was like you were sort of a part of, like, you weren't there as a guest. Like you were a little sister. So,
Right,
like, you
so-
had a run of the house just like
Right.
they did.
Yeah, but you dated somebody
Yes,
in there. I didn't date anybody in there.
Did you have an initiation or anything like that? as a-
we had all that.
But
stuff.
it wasn't, we did. But it was
mean,
all the
we
kind of pseudo.
actually-
we made all
when-
that up,
Well,
It
when
wasn't.
we were invited,
Yeah. Right, so the brothers
Right.
are the ones who
The brothers picked-
brothers picked the little sisters,
Right.
but then our group got so big that we actually participated in that.
Yeah.
The next year.
Yeah,
So,
so-
when
because we, got the invitation and come to the party, and then, we went there. You know how they do that in sorority, and then they ask, do you accept the bid, that kind of thing.
But we didn't actually. I can't remember. Is it Kathy? I keep on wanting to say Kathy Warner, and obviously that's not it. Kathy, what's her name? She just lives
Kathy,
around here. She's got blonde hair. She was like one of the Phi Mu people, and they wanted us. I'm like, I don't want to join a sorority. I had no interest in joining a
Yeah.
sorority. If I had gone to a college that had a sorority, I would have been first in line.
Yeah.
But
it was good.
I didn't need
what
a
we
sorority.
had, but what we had as little sisters,
Yeah.
it was good.
Yeah.
It was really neat. I mean, it was a
Yeah,
good
it's in the
thing.
yearbook. If you look at yearbook pictures
Yeah.
back then, there are pictures of little sisters, and I think every fraternity had a little sister.
And,
Had a
we
little sister
made
group.
fun of the Spees who were next door. Just, the brothers made fun of them. And we had friends in there. But, it was being part of a group. And we had that group.
So even though you said there might have been some fraternities that you didn't go to, but overall, I mean, you were welcome in the other fraternities.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah,
There was
absolutely.
we had many independent friends at
Yeah.
Macon.
Oh, yeah.
All parties,
was funny, yeah.
99%
No.
of parties occurred at fraternities.
Right. And everybody went
Every
to every
weekend.
one.
That's right.
I
You
mean,
went
it
from
wasn't,
fraternity to
you
fraternity.
weren't limited.
Yes. No.
You know what I mean? Like
Right.
like Phi Caps.
I don't know if
went to
guys
SAE
were, but
or-
but
No.
we had a lot of intermingled guy
But-
friends.
But
right.
some parties just weren't good.
Right.
We went to good parties. And there were parties in the dorms too.
Yeah.
People had parties.
But but primarily the parties were at fraternities. Right?
Yeah. Yes.
So who would organize the parties in the dorms?
Whoever was there.
Whoever
Somebody
could
would
afford to
say-
go buy a keg.
Yeah, somebody would say, anybody have any money? And then everybody would put a couple dollars
Yeah.
in, and you could.
And-
There was a guy. We actually had Brown Distributing students were reps for Brown Distributing.
So,
So there was a guy. We knew him. He was a Brown rep, so he made a commission on kegs, and we would call him up. And I'm not going to say his name, but we would say, "Hey, we want to get a keg down here in the courtyard."
right. I
tomorrow
was going to say
afternoon
because
or
the
whatever.
courtyard, because
Yeah.
that's what there was furniture out there in the motels,
Yeah.
and people would there would be kegs just sitting around out there,
Yeah.
and then it would devolve into
People put
bottle
people put
rockets. and
speakers in the
people put speakers
windows
in the
and-
windows. It was
yeah.
really wonderful. I mean,
Yeah.
it was real outdoor living down there, right? It was crazy.
It was funny. Yeah. It was pretty wild.
And then some people would end up
That was
just
pretty crazy.
yeah, it was.
Yeah. It was wide open.
But also,
have
where
to say.
Village, where CVS is over here at Village by you, that used to be a keg place too. It used to be Standard Drug. If you came all the way to
Yeah.
Richmond.
But yeah, so we had isn't that funny? There was a rep from the
I don't remember that.
the beer distributorship. Yeah,
So did you do anything else on campus other than
Party.
What do you mean?
maybe activities? Were you involved with any other groups or anything like that?
I was in the classics fraternity, and we played soccer. So we were the first.
We were
women's
the
soccer
first
team.
women's soccer team.
Oh.
That was back when even
We had to beg
there was
people for money
no
to get
there
uniforms and
was
stuff.
no varsity.
There was no
there were
Title
no
IX,
there was no
okay?
varsity. The only varsity women's sport was
Yeah.
basketball and field hockey.
Yeah.
Those were the two. And there was tennis. I don't even
Yeah,
remember
tennis.
that.
Yeah, Jenny Salamonski.
I don't even
I always
remember
forget
that.
her maiden name.
But soccer, even nowhere in Virginia was there a varsity soccer team. So we used to play William and Mary, Virginia Tech, and there was this really wealthy guy. Remember his daughters? They played
Birdie's
at
the one that
Tech.
got that.
And
Jim
he
Escobar.
was trying to get women's soccer in Virginia
Yeah.
to become a big deal. So he bought
Uniforms
He bought us
and-
our uniforms. We don't even know. He was like a benefactor. We had tournaments. We went down to Virginia Tech and had went to a tournament and went down to William and Mary. So yeah, we was it was a club sport. And then the next year, was it the next year after we graduated? 82, it became a varsity
I don't know
sport.
when it became varsity.
Play all 4 years?
No,
No,
2
just,
years.
2 years,
Last
yeah.
2 years. I think 2 years. Seems like 2 years. I can't
So did you play on the first club team? I guess
Yes.
that's why.
Yes.
We were. Yes.
Jim Escobar was our coach,
Who was
and
a
he was
student.
he was a soccer player.
Yeah.
He played on the Randall Page soccer team.
And Stephanie and I actually were the first ones to integrate Helmut Werner's coaching
Oh
class.
yeah, we took that.
We
yeah.
got into. He allowed us to come. I mean, and that's what's really awful. It wasn't open to
And then-
women, and
right.
yet he let Stephanie and I
and
take his
Kathy,
class.
what's her name? She was a basketball player. She didn't came
He
in.
let us. That was a big deal.
Oh yeah. So
To
he
integrate
thought it
that
was
class.
funny to make the basketball players,
Juggle soccer balls.
do headers.
It was like a jock class, and we
Yeah.
got to go to that.
Yeah,
It was
that
fun.
was fun.
So I'm sure we had to. I actually got involved in Big Sister, Big Brother program
you
at
did
Randolph
that. You were
Macon,
good.
and I had a little sister in Montpelier, actually for many years, and it was started at Randolph Macon.
Yeah.
My senior year, I was taking
I don't think I did
filling
anything
out
else.
credits, and I took a sociology class, and that was, it was an offering, and I did it and got actually pretty close to this little girl.
I mean, I did that
Many years.
classics fraternity, which was really fun with Doherty. Is he still there, right?
Greg Doherty.
Yeah.
Doctor. We were there when he got his doctorate.
He was
it was a big
we
joke.
were-
We had to start calling him Dr. Doherty instead of Mr.
He was
Doherty.
funny.
Like he wouldn't answer to Mr. anymore.
And what's his name? McCaffrey.
Yeah, he's still
Dan
He's still there
McCaffrey,
too.
is he? He was
Because I took a
wonderful.
lot of upper level classics, Latin and Greek, and I remember in Latin, we had like 3 people in the class, reading Caesar's Gallic Wars, and that was really fun. And I mean, that's obviously the benefit of going to a college of that size, and that that's why our sons are. My son is currently enrolled in a small private school, and her son graduated from there. And so, that small teacher-student ratio was very important. And I think, particularly as a young person, as a freshman, that, to have that and to have those kind of mentors. I don't think being a woman kept me from, I don't think that, I think that, mentoring and availability was provided to all students.
Yeah, I did. Are you saying
And-
that you didn't feel discriminated against as a
not at
woman?
all.
Yeah, no, I agree.
And,
Agreed. Never.
Because we had all men teachers. I had one woman teacher. What's her name? Madame de Graaf. That's when I took like French. First. That was another one of my senior, fill-ins. She was like, Mademoiselle Klele, you must come to class if you want to get a good grade. And I'd be like, yeah, whatever, I'll take the test. I mean, you can only bump me 1 grade from not being there. but
Unless you were Skylar Miller.
So, you know what I mean? So that was something that, that was what was so amazing about being there. That any kind of...
it was a wonderful quality
it
education.
really was a
That's what you're trying to
fantastic
say.
place.
It was wonderful.
And you felt like the teachers really cared
Yes,
about you.
absolutely.
And they cared about you learning.
Yes, agreed.
That was really important to them.
Right.
And if they had to spend extra time with you or give you extra time or extra help,
Mm-hmm.
that was more, it was more important it was more important that, to give you that.
Okay.
So that you could learn. Yeah. So, sorry. Now I'm talking to you.
So what were your majors?
Political science.
Okay.
And history.
Did you?
We both were in Fox.
Yeah.
Is it still there?
Yeah.
I took
recently
and I took a lot of classics.
I took a lot of
courses.
classics courses,
There wasn't
too.
a double major
Right.
available at that time.
Right.
Yeah.
Or a minor. There wasn't a minor.
A minor.
There wasn't a minor
Right.
available.
Yeah, I mean,
I took a lot of classics
yeah,
as well.
so.
Took Latin. And then, now they do, it's called January term. It's not called colloquy anymore. And is that a mandatory? Do you still, because
Yeah.
my son goes to Johns Hopkins and they have a J term. So it's optional and it's credit. You can take it. But when we went there, you had to have 4 colloquy credits.
Yeah.
If you didn't take if you didn't pass your 4 times, you didn't graduate. So they were separate and distinct.
Yeah. And that was another thing I think.
And it was fabulous.
Yeah, the size of the school. There were so many.
I mean, some of the
Well, they
fun
have so many
things that I
amazing
learned
professors and
during college.
amazing
Yeah.
classes
Yeah.
that we took.
Yeah,
Do you remember what those classes were?
absolutely.
Yes.
Go ahead.
You want me to go?
My favorite was Comedies of Plautus, right?
Yeah, we took
That was
that.
favorite.
That was
That was
hilarious. And
awesome.
we did plays. Classical.
And all
And-
comedies derivative to Plautus.
Yeah, right.
He's the root of all comedy.
And all sitcoms on
Yeah,
TV.
all sitcoms.
And we actually did a performance of a play that
Yeah.
was the precursor to I forget the Shakespeare, As You Like It or something.
So
I think-
then what else
yeah.
did you?
Oh, and then I did this
Oh,
class.
God.
what was the name of it? The Inner Journey.
The Inner
Yoga
Journey.
and meditation in religion. And we did.
The last thing a 20-year-old
Yeah.
needs to be doing is meditating
Yeah.
on themselves,
Yeah.
right? I mean,
Yeah.
right? Go ahead.
Who was the professor for that class?
Charles, what was his name?
He ended
Charles.
up running off with one of the Styles.
What?
Ed Styles, didn't he run off with Ed Styles' wife?
No.
Okay, sorry.
No. No. Charles, he actually was, gosh, I think he's at George Mason now. A religion professor, but I can't remember his name.
He has blonde curly
I
hair
can't
with
remember his
glasses.
name. No, he's not at Macon. I think he's at
No,
George.
he was at George. He's doing George.
Oh, I
doing
think
his
he's at
graduate
George.
work at
Are you doing
Mason.
it in religion?
No, linguistics.
Okay.
So.
I can't remember his name. But anyway, so it was, we did yoga every morning. And then we actually went on a retreat to an ashram. And this professor in Myrtle Beach.
Sounds like fun, doesn't it?
Yeah, it was not. Yeah, I mean,
They do that now, but they go to upstate New York.
Yeah, but it was actually, it was in January. It was not even close to any commercial ventures there. I mean, it was a beautiful place right on the beach. And this particular professor had grown up in this group. His mother was a big supporter of Meher Baba was his name, and he was a self-proclaimed avatar. And
But I think that
we studied a lot of Jungian. We read a lot of different sort of memoirs. Gandhi. We did studied a lot of different religious leaders, and then we made like all our bread, and we made like granola to take. And when we were at the ashram, we had like silence at all meals, and we went to the beach. We did yoga on the beach, and it was it was a really very interesting experience in that sort of sensory deprivation. I guess it sort of helps me to understand like cult mentality, because we all were like at the end we're of the same mind about a lot of things. And of course my mother was frightened to death that I was going to run off and never come back. I was going to join the Hare Krishnas or whatever. But sort of like once we came back, because we spent 2 weeks there, but once we came back into with everything else coming at you, it was really a difficult thing. We were all sort of like, oh no,
But I
this
think
horrible thing. But it sort of helped. I mean, at least like looking back on it now, I see that, I can understand that. Like that sort of being deprived of contact of people and, talking. So that was a colloquy that took the inner journey.
Yeah.
Pretty crazy, right? But that was, in the 70s. Yeah, so you go.
no, that's right.
What do you mean?
I mean, I think that, I don't want to go into any details. Colloquy was a great time. It was a great time to explore lots of different things. And
Well,
I'm
he
sorry
asked
the
about
university
classes.
doesn't do that,
Yeah.
so it's too bad.
Yeah.
Right, because it's not as big of a deal now, right?
No, it's still
It is.
a really big
It is.
deal.
I
Yeah,
think
it's,
that's good. That's
Because,
good.
we didn't travel. That was my travel. What else did you take in colloquy? You don't
I
remember?
don't remember.
I did that.
Kind of buzzed out listening to all that.
I did that. What was that one? What was that one? History one? China. I
so
forget.
who were the professors that you felt like had a big influence, in your experience?
Dr. Panel. I actually, I'm going to put this on record. I cheated. And of all classes to cheat in, I've only cheated once in my life, and I cheated in his class. And after cheating, I got up and I walked into his office and said, I just cheated. it's really emotional just to, and so, I mean, Randolph-Macon is an honor code. And what he did is he just flunked, he just took my exam. So that was just a really powerful thing, just to be able to, first of all, that I, however old I was, that I cared enough, and that he was somebody that I could say that to, rather than just feeling really bad about it. But that has not, I don't know why, that actually, he was just a wonderful guy.
Yeah,
I mean,
he's
you've heard of him.
Yeah,
probably.
he was amazing.
He was wonderful.
Did you see his wife at all?
Yes. We actually knew them we were invited to their house. We were, friends with them. They were wonderful people. And he was really wonderful.
You're a history guy. You guys
Tom
were
Porter,
like
we were
that.
talking about that. Love Tom Porter.
They were like this.
As far as just feeling like somebody turning me on to knowledge. And then another person was Skylar Miller, who was a science teacher. And he was instead of taking, back then
Rocks
you could
and
take,
stars or
instead
biology,
of taking
right?
biology, I took astronomy and geology. Astrology, no, I took astronomy.
Astrology. No, that was my colloquy.
So, but what I loved about him is he actually was very disciplined. He was the most disciplined professor that I had. And when you were talking about with not skipping class, on day one he told you have 3 unexcused absences and then you fail. If you have more than that, you don't have the opportunity to take the exam. And then he never said another word about it. And then on the day of the exam, you had to go up to, it was an auditorium class, and you had to go on the stage and get your exam from him. And people who had more than 3 he was checking the list, and he was like, "Why are you here?" And they're like, "What do you mean? You have more than 3 unexcused absences," literally. And people were just stunned by that. And they didn't have the opportunity to take the exam. So even though I only had him for 1 semester, that was really powerful as far as discipline and personal responsibility.
Principles.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I loved Dr. Davis, of course. I thought was amazing. And Dr. Unger, I loved him.
I love Dr.
Because
Unger.
he, because being a poli-sci major, he really, you would go in there, class, whatever the class was, and he'd say, "Okay, we're going to read these 4 books, and then we'll have 4 tests." And so you really had to understand, that we would just discuss. And he was also very involved in politics. And so when he talked to you about SALT and SALT 2, he had been involved in those, negotiations. So that was very exciting to, to have contact with someone, and in a subject that you were interested in.
And it's what you said earlier, which is that they cared about teaching you. They really cared. Yeah. The only person that I didn't feel, and I don't care about having this on the record, is Dr. Scanlon. I hated it. Is he still there? He's not somebody who's really interested in teaching others, teaching people who don't follow his path. Yeah. So I was a history major. You had to take U.S. history to graduate with a history degree. So I had to take a year of him, and it was hell.
Well, and also too, I can tell you this
story. Didn't learn a thing from him.
We were in a bad car accident our sophomore year. Yeah. I was unfortunately I had a little cut. Natalie broke her back. Okay.
They couldn't find me. I was so far behind the car.
She was out of school. And, had to be out for a month. And then, she had the brace and, therapy and all that. And,
drunk driving.
Well, we weren't.
On 95.
So whoever was driving.
The person driving was drunk.
Yeah. So, I remember going to his office to say, my sister is in your class and she's broken her back and she's at home. And he was like, "Well, she needs to follow the syllabus and da-da-da." And I said, "Well, is there any sort of extra, anything that you can give me to help her? Because, she's laying on her back." And, he was not sympathetic at all. It was pretty much like, "Well, either she drops a class or she be ready for the exam when it comes up.
And then spring break, I chose not to go on spring break with y'all to Florida. So that I could finish a paper and make sure the paper got done well, because I wanted to get more than a C in the class, and I got a D. My spring break, I got a D. So I ended up with a C in the class.
Yeah.
Didn't learn a thing from him, and he's...
Yeah, that's funny that you said that. No, I had a pretty good experience, I guess. I'm trying to remember that guy's name from the.
But Dr. McCaffrey.
Oh yeah,
and
he
then
was
Dr.
fun.
Greg
He was
Doherty was
fun.
wonderful.
Oh, yeah,
he was fun.
He was fun.
Helmut Werner was awesome.
Yeah, he was pretty amazing.
Now here's the thing, y'all. The girls basketball team, they were pretty good. We actually have a good friend who was there. They would to get when there was a big rivalry there, they would, if the loudest group would win, the basketball coach bought a keg for the loudest group. We beat some big powerhouse, because they were the whole gym, Crenshaw was filled because they were giving away a keg. It's great. We actually had friends who were on the basketball team, so we used to go to basketball games. But have you talked to Karen Courier? Karen
men's
Wilson?
basketball team was good too.
Oh yeah, because Hal Nunley. Yeah, we were there the year
and
after they went
boys
to
on the team too.
Yeah. They were SAEs. Basketball players were SAEs. Who was my old boyfriend how we got to Randolph-Macon was an SAE. Yeah. Which was really weird.
He married a girl from Randolph-Macon.
Yeah, I broke up with him. Patty Toller. Have y'all talked to her? Patty and Jim Toller.
They live in Fredericksburg.
We broke up before I got there. It was
because Patty was in our class. Patty Fuller was her maiden name.
Yeah, they live in Fredericksburg.
Yeah, she was in our dorm. Yeah.
He works for the paper up there.
Oh yeah, freelance star.
All right. So, can you tell me so what you did after graduation?
I went to Europe. I didn't get a job until I was 26 years old. I taught school, went to Europe, ran a parts counter for an automotive dealership. And then it all came together. And I've actually been working in retail since I was 26 years old. So what I was doing, and it absolutely is from Randolph-Macon, I was able, because I interviewed well, right? And I was smart. Or I came off as smart.
You can convince people.
Absolutely, right. And I came from a school that had some cred, Yeah. So anyway, so so what I do now, I'm a history major. The only math I took my math for Randolph-Macon. No. Oh. I took one day of statistics and this is the wrong place for me. I took philosophical logic.
Oh, right,
that was my math.
That's right, Dr. Panel.
Yeah, Dr. Panel. Yeah. And then I took that one in the class I cheated in. I cheated in the ethics class. Can you imagine? Can you imagine doing something like that?
You did learn something.
Listen, it's a really horrifying thing. I was like, wow, I just did this. Well, how am I going to fix it?
I took history of philosophy with him. That was a really cool class.
But anyway, so I do math. I manage inventory for large billions of dollars of inventory. So it's all math. It's kind of crazy. But it's really just, making sure that you can get product to a store so that somebody can come in and buy it. So it's all
That's
story.
That's a pretty big deal, Natalie.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't want to say. No, I just had...
What'd you do right out of college? You went to work at Friday.
Oh,
I worked job.
I worked as a waitress, job. And then I was asked to be on join a training team, and went around the country and
back when friend bars were really big.
Trained trainers how to train, and then it sort of evolved into training new managers. And what I had to do is I had to learn every position in the restaurant. And so then I had to train the managers on every position in the restaurant. And then I also was sort of a troubleshooter. Like if they were having issues with food costs or liquor costs or something, they would call me and say, "Can you come and see what's happening?" And I would sort of go in undercover the night before, if they didn't know, if it was a new place, and sit at the bar and watch the bartenders.
And then you went to
and then I opened
to law
some
school.
stores. Yeah, and
Right.
then I went to paralegal school.
Right.
And worked as a litigation paralegal for a large firm.
because you want to get off the
and-
road.
Yeah, for a large
Yep.
firm in Northern Virginia, and was encouraged by the attorneys there to go to law school. And I was kind of like, I don't really want to be you. And they were like, look, you're doing this much work and you're making this much money, and look at these associates. You're actually doing, they're coming to you. And so then I went to Richmond. So I went to law school, applied to law school, and then practiced law for a few years. And
here we are.
yeah, now I'm working. I got married and moved and took another bar exam, but never ever
She didn't marry until
practiced.
she was 40.
And then I now work as a recruiter for a legal staffing agency. And all of our recruiters are licensed attorneys. So.
So,
How have both of you stayed in contact with the college after all these years?
Well,
Come and go.
I-
By the way, I do want to say one thing. I have this quote. I can still remember it. And it's somebody famous said this quote. Do you know what the value of a liberal arts education is? It teaches you to disdain the wealth that it prevents you from attaining. That was like so perfect.
yeah.
I was like, I don't know what I want to do.
well, we.
But the thing about Macon was it wasn't a technical school. You weren't going there to get a job, right? You were going there to learn, and that's what my
Become a
son
well-rounded
exactly.
person.
My son is now up at Johns Hopkins, and that's people think of that as like the math as a science school, but it's really a liberal arts school. The undergrad is, and it's a perfect place for him, and it's exactly the same thing. So he's there just to have 4 years of deep learning, and I feel like that Macon was the same way. Yeah. So how have we kept in contact with the college? We have our best friends are from Randolph-Macon, and I run into people all the
Yep.
time.
And-
I come and go on my giving. I'm sorry.
And I'm in the Randolph-Macon Women's Connections. I've
Right.
been trying to be involved in that. And we went to like our 25th.
Homecoming.
Hey,
is gonna be-
Well, we went to our 25th
You know what? We
reunion.
quit going to that. We
Which
used to
the
go to
25th
Hampton
was-
Sydney,
yeah.
and then it was just kind of
Yeah.
weird unless you're going with your friends. It's,
Yeah.
just
so our Shelley did a really good job. They did a
Mm-hmm.
good job with the 25th reunion to get a lot of people there. That was really fun.
at one
And-
point. There's a lot more. Y'all are doing a better job of emailing, trying to offer
Right, get
opportunities. I'll
people.
say that. I'm at a time in my life that I'm not giving a lot to anything
yeah.
my time, but
We're giving all
there-
our money
you
to
all
St. Christopher's
you all are
School,
doing
I'll
a
tell you that.
lot better job of giving lots of different opportunities.
Yeah, so that's nice. So, but to be able for me to, like with Kathy Rollman, I've actually come out there and talked to some of the seniors about law school, options in the legal field. I did put a couple people to work on a document review project for non-attorneys, and I'm always she sends people to me all the time, and I will always speak with these young people about law school, about legal careers, mostly to try to discourage them from attending law school, but that's only because of the state of the job market, legal job market at this time.
Is there anything else that you would like on the record that maybe we haven't touched on that you felt was an important part of your experience that we haven't talked about?
Well, I think the community, I guess we talked a little bit about that, but it was like being at home when you were there. Like when you were going, I remember one time sleeping late, and going to class in my pajamas because it's like overslept. And nobody said one, like it was, you know what I mean? Nobody said one word about it. I think that was just sort of I don't know. Ultimately, it was it felt like family.
It was
You
a
know,
great experience.
by
Again,
junior and senior year.
my
Yeah.
closest friends, and there are people who I run into that I haven't seen in forever, and it's just like you pick right back up.
Yeah.
It was a place that it felt like home from the first day. I mean, for me, it was great. It was
I didn't know
a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun there. There was a lot
took
of
me a couple
wild
years
things
to get
going
there.
on there.
Yeah. But you know, like we lost one of our classmates last year, and even though I hadn't seen him in years, it was really a difficult. You know, it was really, it was hard. So, but it's amazing the connections because Randolph-Macon, the people are so. Just seems like graduates, get out there and do things and.
So we're talking about the 6 to 2
Yeah,
degrees of separation
that
anywhere you can find
from
a Randolph-Macon.
Other friends.
My husband
of
calls it
ours,
roaches.
Other
They're
friends
everywhere.
of ours that are friends and friends of theirs and that kind of thing. So it's interesting.
You met your husband.
My very best friend from Randolph-Macon, she and her husband introduced me to my
And she
husband.
left after her second year.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah. She flunked out.
she was asked to leave.
She was one of the many.
And then she went to
Madison,
finished up at
JMU,
Madison.
right.
But she married a guy from Duke who, my husband's brother went to Duke, and my husband went to UVA.
We won't hold that against him.
Yeah.
But I will tell you this, the other thing too, talk about academic rigor. I'll never forget talking to friends who are at UVA their first years, and they're like, I never had a multiple choice test
Yeah.
once in my 4 years at Macon. And they're like, and they're all so proud about being at UVA. I'm like, you couldn't make it. And I don't know if it's still that way, but that's how it was. It was anybody could get in as long as you were willing to pay the fee. You could get into Macon, but you couldn't. It was very difficult to stay in. Like the freshman class was like
Well, that
300, and
yeah.
then by the time, and then it's like one.
Yeah.
We graduated. How many people were in our graduating class? I think it was like 100. Is that possible?
No, I think it was 150. maybe.
Not very
I
many
don't know.
people.
But
like,
actually, Randolph-Macon, my education, that was the one thing, like learning how to write, which you don't
right.
really, when you're doing it in college, you're like, this is so awful. Why am I having to do this? But, it helps you in everything. And like for me, going to law school and being an attorney, obviously writing skills are very important.
Right, I didn't learn that in high
And,
school. I didn't learn
right,
that. I learned
and
that at Randolph-Macon.
was a big, and that really helped me in grad school. It really helped me a lot, and it helps me today. Like write letters and things. I write just corresponding with people, and I see these hideous sentences and run-ons and all that, and I think, where did they go to school? No, they obviously weren't trained to write well.
So if this is kind of like a hypothetical question, but if you were to talk to an incoming freshman at Randolph-Macon today, so someone that's going to be entering the fall, what advice would you give that freshman based on your experiences, and experiences afterwards? So during further time at Randolph-Macon.
I don't think I'm not sure what kind of relevant information I could give them because their experience. I mean, it's just such a different place. I think. I mean, I don't know.
I would say get involved in the community. Because, around Ashland, there's a lot of Randolph-Macon people there. I mean,
Yeah, that's true.
well, Jay Pace, he died, but, he had the paper. I mean, there's lots of things that I would get involved in the community. I would take a class in every building.
Yeah. Take as many clients. Yeah, exactly. That's good. That's really good because you have that offering. Yeah. Take a while around it. But do they still have that where you have to take? Because we had that. You had to take classes from different fields of study or whatever. Yeah. So you have to study hard and make good grades.
And go to the Career Counseling Center at least once before you graduate. We didn't do that.
Yeah. No. I tried doing that. Yeah. But, I'm not going to say anything about that. But yeah, that's good. I like what you said. was good. Because you're right. Like when I talk to people, I say, "Oh, have you done this and joined this group and joined that group?" And people, nobody's telling them that kind of stuff because that's important if you want to work for a living.
Well, I just think of more just getting the most out of your years
Yeah.
there, right?
Well, that's what
You know,
part of
and,
everything.
and at least once get a bunch of your friends and rent a school bus to drive you to Hampton Sydney.
Yeah, go to Hampton Sydney on the weekend. Remember that first time we went there? Because we had a good friend from our high school who went to Hampton Sydney. He was there a year ahead of us, and he invited, "Oh, come and stay." And we went there. That was crazy.
And then we had a friend who
We were
that
like,
was all
"Who
during
are
co-ed."
you? You're not the same boy that went to high
Hampton
school with
Sydney
us.
was back then. Well, there was all the girls' schools, which we had
Yeah.
no interest in going to girls' schools. But like Mary Wash, we had integrated or co-educated, whatever, the year before we in '76. So we had a
Yeah.
friend who was one of the first incoming freshman men at Mary Wash, and so
Mary Wash
he
is
went
a
up there.
college, not university.
Yeah, it's not. Back then it was a college. It wasn't a university.
We didn't like those girls.
I know.
Do the boys at Randolph Macon still date the girls?
Oh,
that-
yeah.
Oh, yes, that
we
was
used to
a-
run up
yeah.
to
And
run
we were
up to
like-
Mary Wash. Yeah,
Who are those girls? They don't need to go over there. They have girls here now.
right. Yes, that was
Yeah.
a pretty straight line between
Yeah.
the two of them, and that was the whole thing. And then there were townie girls too. Yeah, and that was really not a lot, but they were, But then sometimes you'd get like a bunch of girls would come in from like Hollins or Sweetbriar or something
Yeah.
like that. Like,
Well, we had that. There was that one place in Ashland,
cousins,
that had a happy hour.
right at the railroad tracks.
Tuesdays
It's
and
right where
Thursdays.
across from.
I don't know what's there now.
I think it's a
Oh, it's Ashland
parking
Coffee
lot.
and Tea.
Oh.
No,
that's across the
no,
way.
it's across the way.
The train station is fairly new.
Yeah.
It was actually, I
that's-
think, where the
Where
buildings
that
were. There
parking
was
lot is
yeah,
there
where the
now.
parking lot.
Um,
That used to be the
Yeah.
place that was
Tues-
the happy hour place.
Yeah.
Quarter beers, and
Yeah.
it was actually the only place.
yeah, that was
Ashland. Back
that
then,
was
Ashland
the
wasn't
only
nice.
place.
Like
And-
there was an A&P. We got there when they put the new shopping center, which
Yeah,
is
they
where
didn't
you
have
crops
any of
and
all
all.
that stuff.
None of that was there. That actually got built when we
And then they had
like
the
right before we got
Stagecoach
there.
restaurant was like
Stagecoach
that was a
restaurant.
fancy
Where
place your
there's
parents would take you to.
there's a bank
They had a
right
salad
at
bar.
54 and 54 and Route
Yeah.
1.
I mean, you
where the
weren't
White
walking
Bank is.
to
That
the
was a
drugstore
stagecoach
or anything like that. I mean, you walked to Cousins, but you know what I mean, like you, because I know the kids.
Yeah, we
now,
didn't
they
do
have all that
anything but
stuff
stay
there.
on campus.
Yeah, you didn't.
We didn't go anywhere. We would go to Richmond we went to Regency.
Yeah.
It was such a nice
One time, that was a nice mall back
once
then.
like twice a year is all. We didn't go out.
There was
right?
one boy
We
my
didn't go
freshman
away.
year that took me to the truck stop after a party. I thought he was so neat. I can't even remember his name now. He was like, he had a car. I'm going to take you. You want to go get something to eat at the truck stop? I thought that was neat. And then went on to the next one, I guess.
All right. Well, that's all the questions that I have. So if there's nothing else, then I guess.
No, thank you for doing this.
No, thank you.
And,
Thank you for.
We could talk all night.
yeah, about anything. Throw something.